This is the Big Fish Cares Podcast. Big Fish Cares Podcast. And here's your host, Benny Fisher.
All right, everybody. I am really excited to have a good friend of mine here, Joseph Hughes from Contractor Dynamics. He has a coaching program that teaches people how to run their own Facebook ads, and I've been following his content for a couple years now. Met him in person a year ago, and we always have a lot of similar interests and passions in life and in business. So welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you, man. It is awesome to be here in this studio. Like this is the real deal. You went all in on this.
I'm trying, man. I don't know. You know, you watch the Joe Rogan thing, and I'm thinking, like, all right, how can I get like Rogan, right? Like,
yeah.
I got the Rogan mics. I think I got the Rogan board. I think I got the Rogan camera. And so, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, the bookshelf here. It feels comfortable. I feel inspired just sitting here. So.
Well, I'm really glad you took the opportunity to come to Pittsburgh, especially when it's, right now when we're recording this, it's like 1 degree outside. So. The most pleasant time, but you're from Jersey, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, yeah, but note to self: don't come to Pittsburgh in January. Maybe June, July.
Yeah, when it's a little bit nicer, then you could actually go see the city a little bit and do a nice run.
Yeah. All
those hills. So tell me about your background. Are you from Jersey? Originally raised there?
Yes. So my wife and I grew up in the same town where we live today, but we moved around a little bit, so we're not complete townies. Born and raised Jersey Shore, fist pump baby.
And Gym Tan Laundry.
GTL every day. So yeah, I grew up there. Grew up my family's construction business, 6th generation family member. So
wow.
Hughes Marine started in 1894 and they're still going strong.
That's impressive.
So yeah, it was cool to grow up in that in New Jersey and in Brooklyn, New York. My first job was up in Brooklyn, in Red Hook, Brooklyn, at a shipyard, like literally like banging rust off of barges and tugboats and painting and driving a forklift and, fun stuff when you're a teenage boy, playing with big toys it was cool. So that was kind of my entry into the construction world, if you will.
Do you have brothers, sisters?
I have a sister who's a year and a half younger than me.
Okay.
It's us two. I have a bunch of cousins that are in the business, the family business as well. So
that's cool. Did you go to college?
I went to college.
Where'd you go?
I went to Boston College.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Running around Pittsburgh this morning reminded me a lot of Boston. Like, just old city where it's like hilly. It's not uniform. All the buildings are different sizes and materials. And Boston was awesome.
That's why the construction market's so cool here. The re-roofing market, 'cause there's like all kinds of old houses that have been around for 100 years. There's slate roofs that are still here that we tear off. So the business in remodeling cities like Boston, Pittsburgh, and a lot of cities in the Northeast that are older, right? They have nobody wants to do it. So I'm always a big fan of doing the things that most people don't want to do because that's where you can differentiate yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's funny you go out to Denver or some of the newer cities in the U.S. and everything's new, uniform, it all looks similar, and it's cool, but totally different, East Coast, West Coast.
So tell me, when you were going to college, what did you think you were going to college for? What did you think? Were you going to plan on being in the family business forever? What was the game plan when you were 18, 22 years old?
I mean, really, I had no game plan. So for me, it was graduate high school and then go to college because that's the progression. That's the path. That's what you do, right? So I didn't really give it too much thought. I was fortunate to go to a great high school, great college. Parents supported me, and I didn't really have a game plan or a business plan for my life. So I worked hard, got good grades, did well, and then I graduated college. I sold municipal bonds. I worked for a financial company for a while, selling municipal bonds. That was horrible.
Hold on a second. What's the soundbite? Nope, that's not the right one. Nope. Yeah, there it is. I'm still getting used to my soundboard.
Yeah.
But when you say municipal bonds, it makes me feel
man. So I graduated college. All right, I got this job where I wear a suit and I work at this financial company, and it's these big shots driving fancy cars.
Yeah.
And it's okay, I checked this box, I made it,
That's
right?
the American dream.
Right, it's I made it. It's like Wall Street, right? It was miserable, man. It was horrible. Yeah, so
what'd you do after that?
I was there, I got my Series 7, 63 licenses and everything like that. my buddy Jay and I, who lived together in Hoboken, New Jersey, and worked at this financial company. We were in it together. And I lasted, I don't know, under a year. And I was like, you know what? Like, there were guys that were like 27, 28, 30 years old that had the cars. They were taking limos to New York City at night to go to dinners and stuff like that, like, balling out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember this one guy, his name's Joe Rodriguez, and a real successful guy at the time. He's like 27. And I'm like, like, I could work hard and get to that point, but Joe's coming in every day and doing the same thing that I am, like, get on the phone and dialing for dollars, basically. And I was like, that just doesn't excite me. I don't care how much money you can make. Like, that's not exciting,
It's like, reminds me of the movie Boiler Room.
Oh, dude, it was legal, 100% legal, tax-free municipal bonds backed by the U.S. government, AAA rated and insured.
Yeah.
But it felt...
Like, it's like cold call. It's like just like trying to sell people stuff over the phone, right?
Yeah, because they were like, oh, here's the list of like all these leads of people that are interested in tax-free municipal bonds. Meanwhile, it's just a freaking phone book. Yeah. And like, hey, you learn some grit and resilience there for sure.
They weren't the Glengarry leads.
They
right?
were not. No, I never found those. Yeah, Joe Rodriguez got those.
Is Joe Rodriguez still in that business?
I don't know. I'd be curious to go to that website and check him out. I hope he's doing well.
So what'd you do after that? How'd you pivot?
So I went to the family biz. I was like, that sucks. I kind of like. I guess maybe that's what I thought I wanted. That's what was like expected, right? You graduate a good college, you go get a white collar job, you wear a suit. And I was like, that just doesn't excite me, So
you went back to the family contracting biz.
Yeah, I had an apartment, I had to pay rent. And I was like, all right, well, let me go back to the family biz, work out in the shipyard. So here I am, like college degree from Boston College. And then it's like, all right, you want to go work in the family business. You don't go into the office.
Yeah,
like
they're not putting you in as an executive.
No.
You're going back to the shipyard.
You're in the blue collar, man. So you're going out there in the shipyard in the winter. I started in October. Winter on the water in Brooklyn, like it's pretty miserable.
So how did you make any money that first year when you were working with the Wall Street guys and stuff like that? So the money wasn't really that big of a difference then. So
no.
But the mindset had to be like, what about all your buddies from college and all like I'm going back to work at my dad's company and like my grandpa's place and like I'm getting my hands dirty. Like was there any pushback from your friends? Did you get isolated? Anything like that?
No, none of that.
So they were all cool. All right.
Yeah, and it's an awesome business. 127.
No, I understand.
Cool,
I just know that Wall Street mentality sometimes, and like, oh man, like we're not gonna be friends with Joe anymore. He's like getting his hands dirty.
Yeah.
So you had some good people then. You had some good people.
Down to earth people. My roommates were all good. Yeah, like mostly white collar jobs in the city, but
that's awesome.
Different.
Now, how long did you work in the shipyard, like doing manual labor?
So my cousin Brian and I started around the same time. We're about the same age, and we had to do 2 straight years out there in order to like graduate and get into the office. So yeah, it's two straight years.
And then what kind of office position did you get?
I mean, it's a small company. There were probably 10 people, probably around 8 or 10 people in the office. So like, you're doing everything. Small business. Like you're doing, you're sitting down with banks with business proposals because it's heavy equipment. So we're always like borrowing money to build like, $1 million barge or something like that. So like there's a lot of that. Sales, some marketing, some HR, some
Well, it sounds like your
operations.
background, at least going to school and then learning some of that higher level finance stuff in Series 7, I mean, that probably paid off for your family. I mean, like they were probably proud to have you in there, right?
Yeah, like in college, you read textbooks, you learn stuff, but you don't really actually learn anything until you apply it. So
right.
You learn how to learn maybe in college, and then you go apply it, and that's how you learn.
Did your mom or dad work in the business?
My dad.
Your dad worked in the business.
Still does.
Were you guys working side by side? Like, was it?
Yeah. So my dad and my uncle and then my dad's cousin are the 3 owners. So Joe, Bill, and Bob. And so it's those 3, and then my cousin Brian and I. So there are five Hughes guys in there. And
testosterone levels were high.
Yeah, but we're all like, we're all nice guys. So like, there wasn't like the fighting and the drama,
But you hear about in some family businesses.
It was exactly. It was very civil.
So you guys were organized.
We were.
That's good. Everyone had their role, right? Like everyone kind of knew what everybody was supposed to do, and kind of everybody just stayed in their lane, and you guys worked as well as a team, right?
Yeah, I mean a lot of overlap because in a small biz you do a lot of wear a lot of hats,
yeah.
But yeah, there was like decision making, criteria.
But they're pros. They've been doing it for their whole life, and your grandpa did it before them, right? I'm sure, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you end up transitioning out of there? Because you're not there today.
I'm not there today. So it was, you have the book on your shelf. Is that 4 Hour Work Week?
Yeah.
So I picked that up in 2007, Tim Ferriss. Yeah. And I read this thing, and I'm like. I remember I picked up at Barnes & Noble in Edison, New Jersey, where Gary Vee grew up.
Yeah,
man.
We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Gotta get Gary on the show, man. So I picked that book up and I read it. I'm like, it's just like seeing color. My eyes were open. I'm like, man, like you can live anywhere, like whatever the tagline is here, but like, you can create whatever you want to create. So that was 2007. I'm not a impulsive guy, so it took me a few years. I started reading marketing books and business books about starting your own stuff and all that. And I just had that entrepreneurial itch. And so 2012, I finally had the really hard conversation with my father and then with my uncles that like, hey, I want to, strike out on my own, right? Like I appreciate the opportunity. I'm grateful for having the opportunity in the family business, learned a ton, grew a lot, but like I want to go out there and see what I can do on my own. And like that was hard because like no one really leaves the business. Like it's like the mob, like you're once you're in, it's like you're
you're out in Jersey, man. Like
yeah, exactly, the Irish mafia. So like you're pretty steady gig for the rest of your life. Like not
you can coast,
not baller money, but like good benefits, car, the whole deal. Like not worrying about a paycheck. So there's leaving that security and then being like, I don't really know what I want to do. I just want to try to figure it out.
How did how was it a complete shock to them? Did they kind of understand that you were kind of like doing some other things? Were you doing anything on the side at all? Or were you like,
oh man,
was it just like cold turkey? You walked in, hey Dad, I got to have a talk.
It was a shock. I remember it was the day after Thanksgiving at my parents' house, Friday after Thanksgiving in their kitchen. And it was like, man, I was sweating. I was like nervous and all that. And it was hard. But now having kids of my own, 9 and 6, I realized like your parents, they want you to be happy doing what you want to do.
They love you, man.
Right. So that was the immediate vibe that I got. They're like, all right, well, it's kind of surprising. I don't really know what the hell you're going to do, but I trust that you'll figure it out, And
did you give like a notice? Was there like a 6-month like, hey, what are we going to do? We got to figure out how to take, what Joe's doing at the company. Joe's got to train somebody. Like, how was any of that going on? Or
yeah. So that was the day after Thanksgiving. So obviously November. And then I left in July. And then so in that 6-7 month time period, my younger cousin Tim came in and I kind of trained him
next man up,
take my spot. And Tim's a sharp dude, man. He's awesome. So
is he still there?
Oh yeah,
killing it probably.
Yeah. They just I just saw on Instagram last night they just opened up. They had a ribbon cutting for a new building they have in Brooklyn. So
dude, that's gotta be awesome.
And Tim was there with the big the big scissors cutting the ribbons. So I'm like, that's awesome, man. Tim's killing it.
So the transition went smooth.
Yeah.
Did your parents offer to like help you at all? Like did you need any help? Like what did you end up doing?
So this is something I would not recommend to anyone out there. So this is like Q2 2012. We had our son, our first kid. We moved out of our condo. We sold our condo, lost a bunch of money on it. Because we bought in 2008 before the crash, and we sold in 2012. So we lost like $70K on that. We moved, and then I quit my job, started the business. So like 3 big life events, like kid, moving, starting a business, all within like a few months. Yeah. It was I wouldn't recommend it that way, but
what was the conversation like with your wife? Your wife probably always kind of knew that you were kind of itching. I'm sure you had those conversations with her. What was that conversation like, parallel to your parents' conversation?
I mean, God bless her, because I didn't really have a plan.
You're not the Joe Hughes that we know today.
No. It was like classic, like jump out of the airplane, figure out how to build a parachute on the way down. Like that was it. And I was like, well, Tim Ferriss can do it. I can do it. He's a much smarter guy than I am. But she worked in the financial industry for like 13 years. So she had,
So she was working at the time?
Yeah.
So you guys had that second income, which was going to basically be your first income.
Right. So that was it. That was enough for us. And it was like
cool.
Health benefits.
There you go.
And then she had negotiated. So we had our son Hunter in April. she negotiated to work from home full time.
Wow,
So,
that was before it was cool to work from home.
Exactly.
She was a trailblazer.
Right. And that came from, honestly, like Tim Ferriss is like, hey, have this conversation with Bob, the owner of the firm. And she did, and it worked.
Well, if you're good, they're going to figure out a way to make it work.
Exactly.
I've learned that.
Exactly.
And even when employees come here, if there's something we can do for them, if they're great people, it's our job as the president, owner, CEO, whatever, to make it work, because the people are the heartbeat of the organization. So that's awesome to get good support, because you have to have good support. Let's get into how you got your first dollar.
All right, so first dollar. So I started a Facebook group end of 2012. So kind of before Facebook groups were even cool. And we had just had Superstorm Sandy came through October 29th, 2012 at Jersey Shore, Long Island, New York City, just completely 100-year storm, like did a ton of damage, billions of dollars. So I started this Facebook group called Rebuild New Jersey. It's basically like get all these contractors in the group of all different types, kind of network and whatnot, and then be able to help homeowners, because like people were like in need of like everything, right? Their houses were destroyed, buildings were destroyed. So I built it as kind of a hub for contractors to get together to network and whatnot. And then so I'd have these coffee meetups every Friday. It'd be like 7 o'clock on Friday, Green Planet Coffee Shop in Point Pleasant. Meet up there, and coffee and whatever donuts are on me. And at that point I had no business. I had nothing to sell. I basically was just bringing people together. And they were having conversations, the architect was talking to the builder, was talking to like the house raising guy, was talking to the roofer, whatever.
So wait a second, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
You told your parents on Thanksgiving that you were quitting, but you had no idea how you were actually going to make $1. Like you kind of thought you were going to go the marketing angle, but like you didn't really have like.
I knew it would be marketing, yeah.
But when did the hurricane come?
It was October 29th.
So the hurricane had come. Did you kind of formulate that idea in your head back then?
It was like the day of or the day after I bought that domain, rebuildnewjersey.com. And then
and you bought it just for that purpose. Like you actually thought, hey, I'm going to get these contractors together, or did it just kind of like, were you doing it like as a hobby and just trying to be goodwill, and then it just turned into a business?
Yeah, that. It was never an official nonprofit, but it was also never a business. It was a Facebook group.
Yeah, you were just hanging out.
And there were a bunch of them too.
Okay.
Like just kind of like information, getting people together, that sort of thing.
All right.
When a disaster strikes, there's like, people kind of band together.
Yeah. So this was in the summer. You have a Facebook group. How'd you get people to join your Facebook group?
Man, I think
because I remember those back in the day. I did a little bit of Facebook marketing back in 2012. That's how I started Fisher Marketing, which actually owns the Big Fish Contracting Company.
Oh yeah. I don't know how to get people in.
Did you go knock on doors at small businesses, or did you call people on the phone? Like, because a lot of people weren't on Facebook back then, especially business owners. They didn't got time for that.
Yeah. I don't know. People were on Facebook for sure.
I know, but like business
I didn't go door to door.
Weren't spending as much time on there.
Yeah,
like they are now.
I might have been going to websites and looking at the email address.
Did you go to Chamber of Commerce events or anything?
Cold emailing. I did that later on.
Okay.
But
so you build a group. So like, how many did you have? Like 100 people in the group? 200?
Oh man, I had. There are like in the group. There's several hundred. Yeah, under 1,000, but a few hundred. I mean, it's going back a decade. I don't remember the exact numbers.
I'm just curious. And then you did the meetup. How many people showed up to your coffee meetup?
We would have like 10 or 12 or sometimes.
So it started real like real small and like real organic.
Yeah, like sitting around a couple tables having coffee, and then it was one of those deals where like, so Joe, like what do you do? And I'm like, well, what do you need?
Open up the jacket. Whatever you need to do.
Hey, you got websites, got this, that, SEO. So there's a guy, Neil, owns a company called Design Build Pros. Neil, sharp guy, good business guy, and he's like, yeah, I need a website. He's like, all right, I can do that. And another guy, Nick, had just moved his family from Illinois to New Jersey to work this storm. And he's like, I need everything. He's a contractor. I need a website. I need marketing. I need, no one knows me here. I need to get my name out. And so Nick was client number 2 back then. So that's 2013-ish. And he's still a client today. And
that's awesome.
Nick Forcell, Atlas Restoration. He's down in Texas in Dallas.
That's cool.
Awesome guy. So that was.
So that's how you got your first $1.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much you charged for your first website?
Oh man, it's so embarrassing.
That's all right, man. I charged $500 for my first one.
It was, It was 1,200 total, but there's two parts of it. There's 800 and there's 400. But this website was hundreds, like hundreds of pages. It was insane.
Hundreds of pages.
This guy Neil is a blogger.
Oh, see, I only did a 10-page website. I charged $500.
It was insane. However, Neil's very connected, and I knew that, and so cool. Referrals.
That's the way you're supposed to build it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you use GoDaddy?
No, so I
used GoDaddy in my first one.
Okay, no, WordPress, straight up WordPress.
That's impressive.
Yeah, went right to WordPress. That was the big thing at the time, still is.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you start doing some of that stuff. You get referrals, I'm assuming. People are starting to do that. It's 2012, 2013. Walk me through and get me to the point where like you started doing like the Facebook ads, like because you had to probably do that for a couple of years, right? Like just doing websites and doing other marketing for
businesses.
We're
just anyone who wants to give you $1, like a restaurant or whatever, like you're that sort of thing, pay the bills. And then I went through this 6-week business incubator in New York City at some point. I guess it must have been 2014. I'm not sure at the time.
That's all right.
But went through that, and it was like, come in with an idea. We're going to flesh out that idea in the 6 weeks. You're going to leave with like a new business, basically. So I was doing like all sorts of generalist stuff, and I was like, you know what? I really want to focus on the contractor stuff. So that's where Contractor Dynamics was born, in that 6-week incubator thing.
Wow.
Graduate.
And it was still just you. Did you have any employees or anything? Any
I had a guy, a web designer in the Philippines named J.U. Gorino.
There you go.
So it was J.U. and I. He's full time.
How'd you meet him? Like Fiverr?
Just through something like that. Yeah, I think it was before Fiverr. It was before Fiverr.
Okay.
There was there's a few websites where you could find like Filipino VAs and workers.
How was that experience? Because I've always heard about that. I've never really done too much work with that. Was that difficult, challenging to like?
Challenging, but like Filipinos are like very gracious, very like hardworking people. They care. They're very diligent. They're
the most like Americans, except they can make like a quarter of the money and be extremely happy.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the time difference is tough, like about
that's what
12 hours plus or minus. So like, you ask my wife, like there are nights like I'm at the kitchen table at freaking 11 o'clock at night, like me and J.U. just like going back and forth, like building websites and stuff. Like it was.
Did he speak English?
It was a hustle. Yeah.
That's good. That was helpful.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love to hear these stories of like, what was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome in your business, like in those first early years?
And the biggest obstacle, it's trying to figure out everything on my own. Like I didn't know anything about like business, and like I worked in the family business for a while, but like that was 100-year-old company. Like they had systems and processes, and they had mostly everything down.
Yeah.
This is brand new, and I'm like, I don't know how to price myself. I don't know how to like create like all the different things you got to do. Create invoices, taxes. Like it's just not knowing what you don't know and just trying to figure everything out at once.
So did you use a lot of human resources? Like did you call a tax guy? Did you call every time that you needed something to figure it out? Like were you connected? Were you part of any like groups or any like, I know you did the incubator. Did you meet a lot of good people through there?
I met a few people there. The accounting firm that works in the family business on Hughes Marine's account, like they're now my accountant. So went to those guys. There's online resources, obviously. I did go to like the Chamber of Commerce, things like that, and made some connections there. But, everything's Googleable, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're willing to sit there and do your research, you can figure it out on your own.
That's awesome.
But then the hardest stuff is about, and to this day, it's like, it's positioning yourself the right way where you can charge enough to make a profit, to provide good work. And I think that's something that, you're always kind of working on, right?
Yeah, because you need that income and cash flow to be able to then hire people, right, to then help offload and even provide better customer service.
Right.
A lot of people don't realize that customer service is a really, really big investment. I mean, mm-hmm. You have to, there's lots of people that have to be part of it. It can't just be the Joe Hughes show or the Ben Fisher show. Especially because if we do so good, we're going to have people stacking up and then we can't get to all the work, right? So then, you have to slowly creep your prices up because, you have to slowly do it, and then it's not fast enough to where like, oh, I can just bring on this person and make $50,000 a year, because then that's $50,000 less than I'm going to be making. And there's always these weird transitions through your life and your career and business that you have to turn in your case like your wife, and you're like, well, I'm going to have to cut my income in half because we're going to have to hire someone. So we're going to have to keep it rolling.
Right.
And it never stops.
Right.
It doesn't ever stop, just so you know.
Okay.
Doesn't ever stop. It just keeps. It's just another.
Just gets bigger.
You just get used to it.
Yeah.
You get used to taking a step back to go 2 steps forward. Step back, 2 steps forward. Step back, 2 steps forward, and you keep growing. But there's always sacrifice involved, and that's the one thing I've learned over the last 6 years. There's a lot of sacrifice, but you get used to it. I'm 6 years in now, and it's like almost like I actually bring it on, like bring on the pain. You know what I mean? It's like I almost love it.
It doesn't get easier. You get better, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever read the book by David Goggins? Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah, I see it right there.
He's just like bring on the pain.
Bring it on.
Bring on the pain.
His 40% rule, man. It's like when you feel like you're tapped out, you're done. You're only at 40%.
That's it.
Like
everyone just pretty much operates in that 20 to 40% zone.
That's true.
I mean,
so
and
true.
even I do. I will be the first to admit that I feel like I operate at 40% sometimes.
Yeah.
I know I'm giving 100% effort, but like sometimes you always think that you could be doing more. You could be more intentional. You could be more planned. You could be more thoughtful. You could like do bigger things. You know, self-limiting beliefs hold you back.
Oh yeah.
But like. Yeah, there's like whole other areas that you can unlock. You know,
yeah.
I got a lot of Tony Robbins. I was at the 4-day conference with Tony Robbins.
Nice.
I know you're a fan of Tony, but
yeah.
There's a lot of things that you learn about yourself, you know, through this journey of entrepreneurship. So what do you do now? Tell us about the Facebook Ads Mastery course. Tell us about kind of what your business has evolved in today. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so real quick, from like 2013 through 2019, we ran full service agencies. So like building websites, SEO, blogging, running ads.
Just a lot more of what you were doing by yourself than you just had a team.
Yeah,
right?
we built a team and it was awesome. And like, so 2019, we transitioned away from providing services, like what you call done for you marketing services, into training. So now we are a marketing training company, which is kind of new to the construction industry. There's a lot of sales training companies out there. So just think of that.
Yeah. Our buddy Ryan Groth, you know, Sales Transformation Group has helped me tremendously.
Yeah.
That's how we met. That's how we met in person, because you need sales to be able to then afford to market. You know, a lot of people think, there's a lot of people that try to market first, but then they don't know nothing about marketing. They waste all this money.
Yes.
And then they still have trouble getting sales. And sales is really what brings the cash flow, and to be able to delegate and hire people in the accounting office and be able to hire a marketing agency or do your own marketing. So that's a pretty cool transition. I really like the education piece on that, because people are always going to be thirsty for knowledge.
Yeah, and really the reason we did it is because like at the time, so this is like 2018, 2019, we had clients that were involved in like the marketing that we were doing with them. So like they were sending us pictures and videos and content and getting on the phone and, you know, reviewing their performance. And those clients did really well. And then we had a lot of clients, unfortunately, that like wanted to just say, you know what, I don't want to deal with the marketing. I just want to pay Contractor Dynamics. You guys, you know, make my phone ring, you know? And it was, you know, you could do that in 2015, 2016, but like getting into 2018, 2019, that became harder. There's so much more noise out there. So we developed our training to help our clients be better clients. Like, hey man, I want you to do a video on that job. And like, what do I do? So we're like, all right, here's a 5-step, like here's how to script it out. Here's how to do it. So we developed this training for our clients because that was necessary for their success. That's so smart. You know?
That's so smart, because I think a lot of people think, oh, hey, I'm just going to pay a guy to do something and just hope and pray that like they're going to get the best results.
Right.
When we know that, like, especially, I've been down through the back in the early days, even when I worked for other businesses, they'd hire marketing companies and it would just be generic content. And it's like all the same. Like they're literally doing the same thing for all the companies in the area.
Yeah.
And everything looks the same, you know, like in the roofing business. Oh, hey, free estimate, 80,000 year warranty. Call us today.
Yes.
Well, every single person's got the same stuff.
Exactly.
Like it like all looks the same. How do you differentiate yourself? And then you have the owners that don't know enough about it, and they're like holding your feet to the fire for results. And you're like, listen, I need more information from you. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
People think, oh, just hire a marketing agency, all of a sudden all my problems are going to go away.
Right.
You have to put actually more into the marketing agency than they give you back to get the maximum results.
All right.
I have a marketing call at as soon as we're done with this podcast. I'm going to have you hop on with us so you can see how we do it here at
Cool.
Big Fish. Like, we're all involved. Like, we're hands-on, and they help us execute. But like, we're still the creative behind it. We still tell them what we want. We tell them what we want it to look like. You know, we make the edits. I mean, like, we're really, really involved. They do help with the execution because sometimes the consistency is hard for small businesses because we're wearing a lot of different hats. And usually, if you can leverage your marketing company, if you hire one just to be consistent, you still have to be involved though at the direction. So that's a great little way to train. And you probably just took your best clients that were actually doing the two-way feedback, and you said, all right, you guys are our new clients. We're going to educate you. We're going to pass this off to you. You guys are going to be able to do it yourself. Save a little bit of money, you know, you don't have to hire the agency. You guys are going to be able to do it yourself, and you're going to have even a better brand, right?
Exactly. Yep, you got it.
That's cool,
and
man.
to draw an analogy, it's like, hey, if you're a business owner, right, and you just want to hire, say, a bookkeeper that's outside your company. Say, hey, you know, do my books. Lisa, do my books. And expect to make a lot of money or a lot of profit or whatever. And you have no interest in doing your books. It's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need to know your numbers as a business owner, and then get someone to help keep your books, controller, whatever, to help you with the nuts and bolts. But like, you can't be uneducated about the financials of your business. Well, same with marketing.
No one cares about your business more than you should.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then when you hire someone else, you got to think you're not their only client. I mean, they got 25 other clients, 30 other clients. I mean,
at least
they need direction.
Right.
They're there to assist, but they need direction. A lot of young business owners, they don't get that. They think that, oh, I'm just going to hire all these people and it's magically going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that's not the case.
Yeah, and most marketing companies, and I can say this, I'm not a marketing agency, like most marketing agencies do not charge enough to actually provide that client service, to actually like sit down and be like, hey, Benny, let's have a sit down. Like, what's important to you this month? What do you guys want to push out? You know, there's no strategy. It's just executing some basic, you know, generic stuff.
Yeah, it's a two-way street because like,
it is.
Contractors don't want to pay any money. Marketing agencies just want to grab whatever they can. They're both doing a disservice to each other.
Yeah.
And then that's why everyone's firing everybody every other month. That's why there's a million marketing companies out there. And like, you know, 99% of them are probably trash.
Yeah.
But 99% of the contractors that are hiring them aren't that smart to be able to like get the best out of them. So like it's a two-way street. It's kind of like new home construction. The parallel there is it's like everyone wants the brand new house and they can barely afford it. So they like, you know, go cheap on everything. And then 10 years later, everything's falling apart and they wonder why. And then they're bitching at the contractor and it's like, why are they doing that? You know, it's like, it's just interesting because I deal with that all the time.
Right.
These 20-year-old plans that are just like the roofs are flying off, like the wind just blows and the roofs just start peeling off. It's because no one was paying attention and nobody wanted to upgrade the roof to dimensional shingles. Yeah. Because they wanted to save $1,000 because they wanted to put that $1,000 into their kitchen or their bathroom.
The backsplash or something.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in people's houses where they never actually finished painting on the inside because like the builder will just prime it because then the people say, oh, you know, I need to cheap it. I'll paint it myself. They never paint it. So like it's
that's a great analogy.
But you have to like as a business, if you have to really pick your own clients. That's why you have to know who your ideal client is. And you know to get success that the client has to give you back information. If they don't, you have to be able to cut that client loose. I mean, like, it's not going to work because you're not going to be successful and your reputation's on the line.
Yep.
Because you don't want a bad reputation over a bad client.
That's everything, right? We're in the trust business.
So tell me about the course. Tell me about how people can tell me about Facebook Ads Mastery.
All right. So we have two. We do a lot more than Facebook ads, but like,
all right, cool. That's what I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn.
But like, so we have Facebook Ads Mastery right now, and then we have our other program called Elite Marketing. And by the time this podcast is released, we'll probably have name changes on both of those because we're working on those now.
The rebrand.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, all right.
Repositioning and all that. Yeah. So Facebook Ads Mastery right now is a 10-week done with you training program where we have the course, you know, you go through on your own, 24/7 access, you know, step-by-step videos and whatnot. And then we have a heavy hands-on component, which is like small group training calls, one-on-one support, got a private Facebook group. So it's really like we are holding your hand on helping you build out a marketing machine inside your business.
What happens after the 10 weeks is up?
So then you have that machine. If you want to, run that on your own, that's great. If you want continued implementation guidance from myself and our team, then get into Elite Marketing, which is a month-by-month thing where We sit down with you virtually every month, and we help you analyze and adjust what's going on. So you always know that you're putting your marketing dollars and your efforts and your time and energy into the right things, and your dollars are always working for you. So
that's awesome.
That's what that's all about. Because, the big thing in marketing is like, there's so much stuff out there. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to put my money. I don't know if my money's actually working for me. So like, we help you, we hold you accountable, we sit down with you and make sure that like, yes, you're dialed in, your dollars are working for you, you're getting these results, here's what's going on. And it's a 4-season, 4-quarter marketing strategy that we help you execute.
So when they take the 10-week course, they do it on their own, and then they check in through group calls for the first 10 weeks. After that 10 weeks is up, the course disappears, right? Or do they still have access?
They still have access to that.
They still have access to go back and look at their notes and figure out how to do it.
Technical things if they need help, refresh on some things. And then once you get into Elite, we branch out beyond Facebook. We've got Google, YouTube, SEO,
awesome.
Google Maps.
All right, yeah, because there's so many other parts of the marketing machine that we do here.
Definitely
Google
not
ads,
right.
Facebook ads, Instagram ads, stories. Like we're trying to learn TikTok. What I mean?
Yeah.
It's like fascinating how things are ever changing.
Yeah, and then there's training in there for like your sales team. So like if you're a marketing manager at a roofing company, well, how do you get your sales team to go out there and shoot videos and get them to buy into the whole concept production process?
Well, that's another reason why I love the fact you come to Pittsburgh. We're going to have a little workshop today with our sales team, because there's a couple of us that do a decent job of promoting ourselves on Facebook. But because we're in the residential roofing business, all of our customers are on Facebook. Our average demographic's 35 to 65, and they're all, on Facebook because their kids are on Facebook.
Yeah.
So it's like, but only a couple of us are actually building a brand inside of the brand. Mm-hmm. And like you're here today to be able to hopefully put on a workshop to kind of explain the why it's important.
Yeah. And
then obviously then how to do it, because there's tips and tricks and there's ways to be consistent with it that I'm really excited to learn more about. So I'm glad that you're here in the flesh, man.
Yeah, likewise.
We're gonna have a great time this evening. But one other thing that I saw that you're doing, and this is really, really new, something called the Syndicate. I want to know more about the Syndicate because it sounds like a cool name. It reminds me, when you said Irish Mafia, it reminds me of like, I don't know. It just reminds me of something really cool.
It is a fancy word, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's like, it makes me want to be a part of it. I'll tell you that.
Oh, nice. It's the Impact Syndicate. And I actually had to Google or go to the dictionary.com to look at the actual definition of syndicate, because I kind of knew what it meant, but I didn't really know. And if I was going to put it out there, I better know what the hell, what it is. So it's basically a group of people on a similar mission, like, to accomplish a similar goal together, which for this is to have an impact, right? To be able to level up your leadership, your discipline, accomplish more, create more capacity in your life, and just level up in all areas of your life.
So let's talk about that, because one of the things I love about following your content on Facebook is I can always count on you to have content. You're in my feed every day, and it's very consistent, and it's always good stuff. It's almost like I read one of your posts. It takes me, maybe 60 seconds to read a post. It's like I just got done reading a full book, like in 60 seconds, and it's awesome. So tell me about when you started to get really consistent with your personal content, and tell me about the discipline it takes. Tell me about your process, because I think a lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and that keeps me going, knowing that there's people like you that are looking for it, and I'm like, I can't slack off, I can't miss a day.
No, you can't, because then you'll just be like the rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. Once in a while on the weekend, I'll sleep in, and I'll sleep past my posting time. Like, oh man, I gotta get it out. Benny's waiting. So yeah, I've always kind of put out content. We're Gary Vee fans, which is kind of why one of the reasons we bonded. So I embrace the idea of being a media company and building a personal brand. And I was always somewhat consistent, on a weekly basis. I'm putting out a few things. And really what held me back from going all in was just what do other people think? I don't want people to think who's this guy think he is, Tony Robbins, I don't know everything, and I don't want to come across as I know everything, but I do have, I think, valuable things to share, as we all do, right? So I try to share things based on my perspective, and not in a condescending way, I'm here, if you want to get to where I am, you need to do this. There's people out there like that, and I don't like that.
It's a big turnoff.
Yeah, so I just want to be real down to earth. Hey, here's something, whether it's a challenge, a struggle, a mindset thing, trying to be a little bit vulnerable. Craig Groeschel says that we impress people with our strengths and we connect with our vulnerabilities, which I think is so true, right? And so it was June 2021. I became really, really regimented with it every single day. my posting schedule 6:45 a.m. Eastern, and then usually at like 8 p.m. Eastern at a minimum. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that happens in between. But at a minimum, like those are the bookends to the day. That's when people are on social media, right? You wake up, check your phone, whatever. And then after dinner, you go to bed, put the kids to bed, you like check your phone again. So those are like my 2 prime times for posting.
And you get like, and then you get the feedback, right? People like, comment. And then are you a big fan of interacting with like all the people that read your content and like connect with them?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, do you like go, like remember Gary Vee always used to talk about how he used to respond to every Twitter?
It's in my head every day.
Every day. And I feel like I suck at that.
I'm not that great at it.
I know. Like I'm thinking like if Gary can do it, like why can't I do it?
Yeah,
like all I gotta do is sit on my phone and just reply back to people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel bad because I'm like, man, I know I should be doing it. And it's like, I don't know why I don't. Because it's not that I don't want to talk to the people. It's just like, yeah, I don't like. I fear of like not knowing really what to say. Am I gonna be like? Is it gonna be too much? Like,
yeah.
But there's a lot of self-limiting beliefs, man, because you don't know how you're being perceived by the public.
Yeah, for me, it's more like it's easy to get sucked into social media, right? So like we were talking about this last night at dinner.
Ads too.
You're like, how much time do you spend on social media? I'm like, not a ton, because I write everything outside of Facebook, so in Evernote or Google Docs, and I copy and paste. And like in the morning, I post and go. Like I'm out. Like so, I'll have comments on my morning post from today. I haven't checked out yet. But I'll go back and yeah, it's like Gary, I hear Gary's voice in my head all the time. It's like, what, you're too cool to respond to comments? Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's important to connect with the audience.
It is.
And I think that's why you've done such a great job, because you're always connecting. I mean, every time I make a comment, you always respond, you always like it, heart it, you're always like, in the DMs, like you're always getting back to people. I'm sure if you're getting back to me, you're getting back to everyone else. I mean, it's really impressive that you're able to grow this brand virtually from the comfort of your home, being close to the kids, being close to the wife, doing what you want when you want to do it, and really growing a business is really fascinating.
Yeah, it's you try to improve 1% every day, and just like the thing with commenting and replying, it's like most people that consume content are not going to engage. They're not going to like it, comment, share, and that's fine. That's human nature. We all do it, right? But so for someone to like maybe get out of their comfort zone and drop a comment, like that's a big deal for them. Yeah. A lot of cases.
Yeah, there's a lot of Facebook stalkers out there that consume the content.
Yeah.
You don't even know, and then all of a sudden you'll hear them be like, man, I listen to your content every day. I read it all the time. And I'm like, really? Well, give me a like, man. Give me some juice, man. Like, I need the juice to keep going.
It is. It's not the ego. It's more like, I just want to know if what I'm putting out there is valuable or not,
Yeah.
One of my buddies, John Hogan, Blue Nail Roofing in New Jersey. I don't know if you know John.
He actually reached out to me. I think he was in Sales Transformation Group. We were connecting on that, connecting because me and you.
He's a client of ours. He's down in Mexico now on the ABC supply trip, and he's like, hey, this guy came up to me from Pennsylvania, and he recognized me from your podcast. He loves your content. And I'm like, what's his name? And he dropped his name. I'm like, I never heard of that guy, but like, it's
awesome.
So it's just funny how
friend request.
Yeah, it's funny how like you're impacting people that you don't know, and that keeps you going, right?
Definitely keeps you going, man. Especially when it's behind a computer and kind of in a virtual world, right? Because like a lot of times, like if you're in like an audience, you can sense the crowd, right? Because you can feel it. Mm-hmm. Like, when we go to events and stuff, roofing conferences and stuff like that, you can feel the vibe, you can feel the energy. It's easy.
Yeah.
And I don't need all those like people to high five me. I can just feel the energy.
Right.
But like on a computer or on your phone, like you can't feel anything.
Right.
Like, so you need like the emotions, I mean, I think Facebook and Instagram, they're smart by like, putting all those like new emotions in, there's sad face, crying, caring, like. And it's kind of helpful, because connection, I think, is what makes the world go around.
It is.
So tell me what's next for Joe Hughes and like the 5-year plan,
Well, that's part of the reason I'm here, man. I want to learn from you how to delegate and elevate. So building out a leadership team, getting an integrator in place this year, 2022.
Get that EOS life going.
There you go. Absolutely. I'm drinking a Kool-Aid, so all in on that, building a team. So right now we're focused on like 98% of our clients are roofing companies. We're expanding beyond roofing into different segments of contracting. So our mission is to be the marketing training company for the construction industry. So that's our BHAG. That's our big, hairy, audacious goal. So.
And you want to be able to train all aspects of marketing or just the social?
No, everything.
So you want to train them on how to do SEO, train them how to do Google My Business and like YouTube and all that stuff.
We already have most of that stuff. Yeah. Cool. I mean, obviously we'll build it out more depth and we got to keep up with the changing platforms and things like that. But that's the mission. So 2025, we'll have a full leadership team in place that, I am the true visionary. And the leadership team will be running the company. We'll have, trade show team going out through different events throughout the industry. One of the big things that's important to my team and I is to have some of our leaders inside our company going out there and, maybe having their own podcast or hosting their own workshops and events and things like that. So it's not the Joe show. I say that to my team all the time.
Yeah.
This is not the Joe show.
I hear you. In the first couple of years in my business, it was the Ben show because, I felt like it had to be to get it to a certain level.
Oh, yeah. Exit velocity.
I used to have my cartoon face like on all the trucks and like all over Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
But then as I like started getting a bit more behind the scenes, like I took my face down, right? Because I didn't want people to be Ben Fisher dependent.
Yeah.
Because like I couldn't, I can't, like if I had customers, I can't believe the owner's not out here.
Right.
Well, now I don't hear that anymore.
Yeah.
So now like they don't even know who the owner is, which is really kind of cool. Because now they know who like Mark Kania is, right? And they know who David Hyson is, the guys that are going out into the field every day. Like they're the new face of the company, and that's what you want.
Right.
Like you don't want to be, because if it's too much, then you don't have that 4-hour work week, where you can like spend a bunch of time with your family doing the high level things that you want to do. So I'm really excited to watch this journey as you grow your team. How many people are on your team right now?
Total there's 6, not all full time, but
that's okay. That's all right.
16 members,
but you want to hire slow. Here, I'll give you a couple of slow.
All right, let's go.
Hire slow, fire fast.
Yep.
And what that means is you want to take your time to make sure that the people that are coming onto your team fit your guys' core values. They're properly vetted. Some of the other people on your team actually do the interviews because they're the ones that have to work with each other. Mm-hmm. And like you want to keep the gate up. You want to keep the gate up on your little company. Think of it like a family, right? We call it a family, right? There's a book called Culture Wins. And the guy that wrote that book, really awesome leader, won all kinds of awards for culture. He calls it a work family, and he calls it framly because it really is. We're spending a lot of times more time with our work family than we are our actual family. And you got to keep it guarded. And you can't let any dickheads in, like our book Legacy. That's a chapter in the book Legacy.
Yeah.
The rugby thing. We didn't even talk about your sports career.
Maybe
that'll be on the next podcast.
All right, nice.
But yeah, that's one thing that really has helped me, especially over this past year. We've gotten really, really good at being able to hire the right people and be able to determine through the core values checks and the people analyzer through EOS. Every quarter we do a check-in. And we make sure that, we're all rating each other like, within a reasonable level, and if the levels drop, we just do coaching, for like another 90 days.
Okay.
If it stays, if it goes more than 90 days, that's more of a performance improvement plan. And it's never really about results because if you're living by your core values, the results follow and you get massive wins. So like, it's not like, oh, did you not sell enough or did you not do this? It's usually tied back with, our core values is be enthusiastic. If you're in sales and you are walking around with a grumpy face and you're not, good to your teammates and you're not good to the customers, well, that's going to obviously result in bad sales numbers. So there's usually, serving others is one of our other core values. Do the right thing, exceed expectations. All 4 of those you can tie to results because if you're doing all 4 at a high level, the results follow. The results are just a byproduct of good people following good processes, and then great things happen. So I'm excited to watch you on your journey because it's changed my life. EOS, implementing that 18 months ago, really changed my life and how I looked at business, and now how that dream of like being an entrepreneur where you can like have a business like help work for you.
Right.
I can actually see that now because before I couldn't see it. Before I just thought I was just a high performing employee.
Right.
In my own company, and I could do what I want when I wanted. That was the cool part, right? At first, I didn't have a boss, because I wasn't really good at listening to others. So I was just do. Well, when you do so much, you can only do so much before you need the team to help you carry the workload, right?
Absolutely.
And when everybody's doing whenever you have the right people in the right roles, magic starts to happen because I'm not any good at accounting, if anybody didn't know that. I'm not the best at the operations department and scheduling things and making sure everybody's where they're supposed to be and consistent management.
Right.
I'm not the best at that. And I'm actually learning that like I'm not even the best salesperson because I'm training my guys to be more consistent. I'm training them on a process. I never really followed a process when I sold. I had a loose process that I would learn, and my talent would take me so far.
Right.
But talent with hard work and consistency and discipline, man, massive results. That's why our buddy Mark Kenya is getting the results that he's getting because he's good in all of those areas. Not just like, one or two. Like he's using all the ingredients and it's really working well for him. So
that's so cool to see. Yeah, I can't believe it's only been 18 months. Wow.
18 months on EOS. That's it. I mean, Now you got to remember my number one strength on Strength Find, I'm an activator. So like when I implement, like when I got into EOS and I hired an implementer. So I wasn't going to try to do it myself a lot. You can do it yourself, but it's, it's harder. It's going to be slower. You know what I mean? It's going to be slower. Longer learning curve. So I just threw some gas on the fire because I wanted to get that thing up and running fast as possible. And then every quarter we're getting tremendous results because we do our 90-day rocks. We're hitting our weekly targets. You know what I mean? We have data, scorecards. I mean, like we have a cadence. We have consistent meetings on a regular basis. We have the same agenda every time. So one thing that's helped me because I've not been always the most consistent at like my schedule, my process is it just gives me a framework that like, oh yeah, I know when that goes. I know how the meeting goes. Boom. I know what I got to do next. Like it's so good because I'm not naturally consistent and naturally disciplined.
Okay.
EOS like kind of gives you that framework, and then it gives the rest of your team the same code and the same language. Everyone's talking the same language now. So when we're talking about our core values, we're talking about our core focus. That's a big thing too, core focus. You talked about when you were at a marketing company that, you're doing, websites, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're opening up your jacket, doing whatever you can for money. Well, we find that you can't really be that great at all of them. So 100%. You have to have focus, And, we do roofing, siding, and gutters. Like, if you ask me to build a deck or if you ask me to build an addition or you ask me to mow your grass or if you ask me to paint something, I'm not doing it. It's not because I don't want to serve you. It's because that we know that we're not going to be able to be the best at it. So, like, I don't want to hurt our reputation by, like, telling a customer, oh, yeah, I can paint your house because it's, because we need money. You know what I mean? Like, could we probably paint your house? Probably. Would it? It wouldn't be as good as, Pittsburgh Paints, and Skylar Stewart, who paints every single day. Right. So I tell customers that, and they actually, I think, buy from us more because we're so consistent and, like, they know that we're not willing to do stuff that we're not proud of.
Yeah. That's one of our core values is being a trusted advisor to our market. So even if we can't help someone, we're not the right fit, we'll refer you to someone who can because I think a lot of contractors fall into that trap where they're like, oh, well, they asked me to do the deck or the fence, and, I don't want to let them down. But, like, yeah, you are letting them down if you're not giving them the best fence or the deck that they could get. So you're actually doing them a disservice and your company a disservice.
Yeah, because eventually the wheels will fall off. Yeah. And then your employees will start to, like, burn out. Because, and then they can't be good at anything. I remember when I got my first job in the roofing business with my uncle, I was doing commercial roofing and we were doing residential roofing, and I was the only sales guy there, and I was, of course I wanted to do really good, but like I'd be doing really good at commercial sales and I wouldn't have any residential sales. And I'd be doing really good at residential sales, I wouldn't have any commercial sales. And it was hard to be really good at both. Yeah. And that's why I loved when I started Big Fish Contracting. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on residential. I'm not going to get into commercial. As tempting as it is, because it's bigger dollar projects, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm going to figure out how to build the machine and build systems and processes because, there's pluses and minuses to everything. It's just you got to find out where your little niche is and then just go at it. So yeah. You ready for a speed round? I think you're the one that taught me the speed round.
Oh, yeah, lightning round.
Five questions, yeah?
Yeah, right. I stole it from someone else, so you can steal it from me.
Yeah. I've seen it on a couple other podcasts, too. So
it's fun, yeah.
So tell me what your favorite book is. I know you read a lot, but give me your favorite book.
Oh, man.
Your favorite.
My favorite book.
Yep.
I would say The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. I read it back in 2018, 2019. So it's all about the small, tiny things you do every day that might not have an effect on that day. You might not see the result, but the compound effect of doing those things every day. It's how I live my life, how I run my business. So
that's awesome. I've never read that. I probably need to. So it sounds good. Favorite movie?
Man, I'm not a huge movie guy. Man, it's a tough one. So when I studied abroad in Sydney, Australia in college, and we had we had like 2 DVDs. One of them was Rounders.
Rounders. I love Rounders.
So
That's a Boston movie.
So I've seen Rounders like freaking 50 times.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
And I just have great memories of sitting there in our house in Sydney and like watching out with our buddies. Like so it just kind of brings me back to that place. You know?
Me and you were both that same generation when poker was getting real popular. Back in 99, 2000, Chris Moneymaker, World Series of Poker.
Yeah,
it's like I love that movie. Favorite travel destination?
Let's see. My wife and I got married in St. John, U.S. Virgin Islands. That's a special one for us. But eventually, we're gonna own a house in Costa Rica. We got engaged down there.
Wow.
Been there a few times, and so that's actually one of the reasons I started my own business, because I want to be able to go there for a month and work from there. Back to Tim Ferriss here. So Costa Rica would be top, and St. John. So
that's
I got
awesome.
2.
That's awesome. Favorite restaurant?
Man,
what's your go-to? If Ben Fisher, you're taking Ben Fisher out on a date, where are you taking him?
Let's see. Man, it's got to be like a good steakhouse, and if like New York City steakhouses, Wolfgang's would be up there for me. I think there's one in New Jersey now too.
All right. And who's your favorite person?
My wife.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us
I had to think about that for so long. I should have come out faster. My wife, Alyssa.
Tell us about her.
Alyssa is she's a rock star, man. She gets shit done, gets stuff done. Can I curse on this thing?
Yeah.
She she runs the household, takes care of the kids' schedules and everything, supports me, takes care of herself. She's fit, and that didn't sound right, but she's fit. She loves yoga.
Yeah, but it helps
both
you.
love working out.
Yeah, you guys both do it together, right?
Yeah, she loves cooking. She's a night owl, and I'm not. I'm a morning guy. She's a night owl, so we
were talking about
sometimes
that
we don't talk till like the weekends. Like during the week, it's like ships passing in the night sometimes.
Well, with kids and work and everything, life gets busy. But as long as you guys are connected, and as long as you guys support each other, I feel like that's all that matters. So
yeah, definitely.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you if they want to reach out to Joe Hughes?
Let's see. Check me out on the Facebook, I guess, Joseph Hughes. That's personal, and then the business is contractordynamics.com. So there's the free training videos and social media links and all that good stuff there.
Yep,
So.
and we'll put all your information in the podcast show notes and stuff. I'm still getting used to this stuff. So I also apologize to all my listeners, because earlier I was coughing a little bit and I hit my mute button on my mic. Hopefully I was picked up on Joe's mic, so if you guys saw any technical difficulties, that stuff happens. I'm still getting the training wheels on here. So.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah.
I appreciate you coming to Pittsburgh, man. I appreciate our friendship. I'm looking forward to do big things with you this year.
Likewise, man. Great to be here. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
Thank you for listening to the Big Fish Cares podcast.